A few weeks ago, I was hanging out on the Starfield Discord. At the time, we had a pretty big information drought, months since the last news on Starfield. So users had turned to desperation, tracking SteamDB updates for Starfield. And in the process of setting up an automated way to do this, someone realized, wait, why did Skyrim on SteamDB just get a bunch of updates? And from there, it was discovered that there's actually an update branch for Skyrim called Marketplace. And let me tell you, once I saw this, it just made a ton of sense. It's like a bunch of dots connected themselves, the stars aligned to become clear, to me at least, as to what direction Bethesda is very likely taking Skyrim in. And in the end, what I think we're going to be seeing is a new Skyrim update and DLC that is likely to drop in the coming months. And to be frank, I don't think you're going to really like what this update actually entails. But first, let's back up. What actually is listed on the SteamDB page for Skyrim? If you go to the debut section of Skyrim Special Edition or Anniversary Edition on SteamDB, you find a new branch titled Hopper that has the description of Marketplace and it was last edited 27 days ago. A branch on SteamDB is basically just going to be a different build of the game. In SteamDB's own words, other branches are often used for storing an older version of the game for people to downgrade to or for testing patches / content. And we can see Bethesda does use this for testing new content. There's another branch right here named Kalo, listed as CNJP Work. This was the most recent update to Skyrim Anniversary Edition, where the Japanese and Chinese translations were finally added for the new content added with Anniversary Edition. So basically, Bethesda adds in a new password-protected branch of the game to test out some of the new content and future updates. Okay, but then what is Hopper or even this Marketplace description? If you look at the history of this branch, we can see it was originally added to Steam on November 16th, and that date is actually pretty relevant. We'll talk more about it in a moment. With this, a bunch of encrypted files were added. It's of course going to be password protected, and I mean technically if you could figure out the password, you could gain access to this build of the game. And following its initial posting on Steam, it actually got a couple of other updates after that, with more revisions coming on both December 1st and December 2nd, but nothing since then. And that is really all we have to go off of when it comes to the SteamDB side of things. But that naming of Marketplace may sound pretty familiar to some of you, especially if you watch a lot of my videos, because in a video that is just 1 month old, I did mention a marketplace. Having some kind of microtransaction to buy over time that is incorporated with modders just makes a ton of sense. And Bethesda actually has the format to fix this. Microsoft has done it already with Minecraft. There's a system known as the Marketplace, where you could basically buy things with Minecoins. So to be clear, that quote from me is before I knew about the SteamDB Marketplace entry, but now the connection just immediately jumps out in your face. Minecraft Marketplace is a pretty interesting system. It's available for the Bedrock edition of the game, which you could play on PC, consoles, or even mobile phones. And the way it works is you basically have a storefront where you can buy all kinds of things for your game. You buy some Minecoins as the currency to use here, and then you could purchase skin packs, custom-made maps with quests, custom-made minigames, or even just custom integrated items like this superhero-themed armor pack I bought to show off in this video. $10 well spent. Better though, I'm no longer familiar with the intricacies of Minecraft. It seems like this is pretty serious. They even have some movie tie-ins, which I imagine are bringing in quite a bit of revenue. So effectively, it's going to be like mods that you would have with the Java edition of Minecraft. But this is a way to get mods on consoles or even your phone, or if you're just somebody who prefers playing the Bedrock edition instead. Which at the end of this video, I'll actually let you in on the very special reason I had to record this on my phone instead of my computer. And the way this will work on the payment side is modders can apply to join this program, and then they're going to get a revenue share of the items as they sell. You'll notice in particular for the popular items, a lot of the authors are actually little modding teams or creator teams that have a ton of things posted, and for some of these it definitely looks like they're doing this full time. They have full websites and a lot of different options for what you can buy. And the way they make money is this revenue split. I tried to find some info on what the split is. Some places say it was 70-30, others 50-50, and others it depends on what price you actually set. But it seems like there is a lot of money exchanging hands here. It was just reported how over 500 million has been generated by the Minecraft Marketplace to date, which means that is hundreds of millions of dollars going to these creators. Okay, so now that you're familiar with Minecraft Marketplace, let's look back at Skyrim. The main reason I predicted a marketplace for Skyrim, or really Bethesda games in general, is due to this consistent messaging we've been seeing from Todd Howard. Basically around more opportunities Bethesda wants to create for modders to get paid.
Hired a large number of modders that are now professionals. We want to support the people who are doing it on their own so they can be professionals on their own. We're always looking at ways that we can make it like, hey, they can turn a career into it because it's just awesome.
So though that is just one example, that quote taken together with the SteamDB entry definitely make it sound like there could be a Minecraft Marketplace-like service coming to Skyrim. I know that sounds pretty circumstantial, right? Like, okay, what is this YouTuber on? He's just connecting dots that don't exist. But what if I also told you that earlier in 2022, a former member of Creation Club actually made a Patreon post talking about how Creation Club was coming back in a different form, but they weren't able to share more details because they were under NDA already. I'm not going to link that post or even show it to you because I don't want that person to get into trouble. But to me, taking this all together definitely seems like something's happening. You have the Patreon post, then you have all these quotes from Todd Howard about wanting to create opportunities for modders to get paid. And then of course the nail in the coffin, or really the biggest evidence, being the actual entry around Skyrim on SteamDB. And to be clear, there's no similar entries for Fallout 76 or for Fallout 4. This is just a Skyrim thing as of right now. But taking it all together, it seems like a paid mods-esque system is on its way to Skyrim. And again, it seems like just Skyrim. There's no marketplace for Fallout 4, at least on SteamDB. The way it worked with Creation Club was modders had to pitch ideas and then work with Bethesda to add those ideas into the game. And basically they were paid as they hit certain milestones. As your pitch is accepted, you get a payment. As you hit the beta of your mod, you get a payment. And then when you're finally done, you get another payment. The way Minecraft Marketplace and how it may work with Skyrim Marketplace is actually quite a bit different. It's a lot more freeform and a lot more akin to other storefronts. You get accepted into the program after applying, then you could just kind of make whatever you want. Let your creative juices flow or create something really big or really small, but it's going to be a revenue share system. So hypothetically, let's say it's a 50-50 share. If your item sells 1,000 times for $10, you'll get half the money and Bethesda will keep half the money. This is very different than Creation Club, where you were just paid a flat fee from Bethesda, which could be better or worse. I'm sure there will be people out there who are making less money in this new system compared to what they made in Creation Club. There's also the question of updates. You have to imagine with a marketplace system, you'll only have to download the files when you purchase them. Basically how it works with DLCs, rather than with Creation Club, you would get periodic updates to the game that would break all the mods. Hopefully that's gone with this new system, although there probably will be an update for Skyrim when this marketplace thing does come out eventually. And the timing as to when this was added to Steam is actually pretty interesting to me. It was added in mid-November and then got a couple of updates in early December and then nothing. We have heard numerous times in the past how Bethesda does a bit of an internal E3 right before the holiday break each year. So what if the reason this was added to Steam in December is they were actually showcasing it at that internal E3? But that still isn't all, as one of my first reactions to hearing about this, about a potential marketplace DLC for Skyrim, is this would actually be a framework for future games. That's why it's coming now, because Skyrim's pretty old, and dropping a paid mods-esque system into that game and getting a bunch of inevitable negative PR just before Starfield seems questionable. Like, yeah, sure, Bethesda will probably make a good chunk of money off the Skyrim implementation, but adding paid mods to Skyrim, to me, seems like it could really be a stepping stone for what they want to do with their future titles. I know though that's largely just speculation from me. It's not completely out of left field, because during that same interview with Todd Howard, he also said this.
We do have to approach it. People are playing games for a long time. You know, Skyrim's 11 years old, and people will probably be playing it 10 years from now also. So you have to think about, okay, people are going to play the next Elder Scrolls game for a decade, 2 decades. And that does change the way you think about how you architect it from the get-go.
What are some elements that change the way, like how do you make a game that's playable for 20 years?
Yeah, and you know what? The content, even if you step away from it for a while, then play what I'll say the vanilla version without mods. If you go and haven't played it in a while, there's always a new way to play it. But then if you look at the mods and what creators are doing to it, we think that is just awesome. Mm-hmm. It's something that we've always supported. We're going to keep supporting.
Now, to be clear, as you will notice, there is a bit of a cut in the middle. I cut out some words he said in between those two quotes. But if you watch the interview in full, to me, the line of dialogue really flows pretty clearly. It's a question as to how do we create games that last longer to, hey, our modders and creators are really cool. Maybe we create more opportunities for them in the future. This may be a bit tinfoil hat for me, but I encourage you to rewatch that interview. I think there's a pretty consistent flow. It seems like one idea went to the other for Todd Howard. Irregardless though, it does just kind of make sense, at least from a business perspective from Bethesda. You create a marketplace where modders can create a bunch of content. You basically have a steady flow of content being added to your game, and Bethesda gets their cut as the fan base likely creates both paid and free mods. Now, a lot of times when I say something like this makes a lot of sense for Bethesda or from a business perspective, a lot of people think I'm in favor of it or it's something I support. But that's not necessarily the case at all. I support modders getting paid more, and there are definitely high quality mods that I would be willing to pay money for. And in general, it could be really interesting to see what could happen to, let's say, Skyrim modding if there's a group of modders that are making decent money and actually investing more time into it. But at the same time, if we do get a Minecraft Marketplace-esque system in Skyrim and future games, I think it'll lead to a fairly fundamental shift in the mod meta for Bethesda games overall, and not in a good way for free mods. I still think there will be the option to create free mods. I don't think it'll be paid mods only, but if you're making good money creating paid mods, you're probably going to be less incentivized to create a bunch of free stuff also. You have to imagine some of the biggest mod projects will end up becoming paid projects, or at least some of them. Not all of them. Some people do it out of their free time and want to stick with that, but if you start noticing certain mod teams making a ton of money, I think some other modders will look that way and definitely be interested. But assuming all of this is true, I think we see Bethesda implement a marketplace paid mod system in Skyrim early in 2023. I think the reason they're implementing this then is it's going to be a framework for how they plan to continually monetize their future games. I don't think we're only going to be getting paid mods for these games. I think free mods will still be around, but this is a way for Bethesda to continue to make money off of their products years into the future while they're busy at work on the next one. And I would argue it's not even all that crazy of a prediction. Microsoft bought Mojang and Minecraft. They introduced this marketplace model shortly thereafter. It's almost like the exact same thing is happening with ZeniMax and Bethesda. Although to be clear, at least as of right now, there really is no evidence of this coming to future Bethesda titles. That is largely just speculation, but there definitely is evidence of something going on with Skyrim, of some kind of new content coming to that game. Now, whether it ends up being exactly like the Minecraft Marketplace or not is a completely different topic, but there definitely is a new branch for Skyrim that is titled Marketplace. But for those of you who did stick around to the end of this video and wondering why did I record all of that Minecraft Marketplace footage on my phone? It's because Windows kind of sucks, at least sometimes. Yeah, I cannot actually get Microsoft games to install on my PC, including things like Forza or even the Minecraft launcher. I've spent literal hours trying to get this to work, involving PowerShell, restarts, registry editing, mounting ISOs to update files, among a plethora of other things I've forgotten about since. And after spending another 2.5 hours trying to get it to work today for a video, I basically just gave up and was like, hey, screw it, I'll record it on my phone. Either way though, hope you guys found this video informative. I'd love to hear in the comments down below, what do you think about this situation? I definitely speculated as to where I think this is going, but where do you think this is going? Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think this is a bad thing? Either way, I definitely think something is coming, and I think it could have a pretty big impact on the future of modding as we know it. As always again though, I thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.